New perspectives on flexibility, mobility, and all these sorts of things. The reality is, back in the day, I used to do a ton of stretching. After all, I've been doing Taekwondo since I was 10. I used to do a ton of mobility because I had all kinds of back and hip issues. Everything on my posterior chain was tight as a guitar string. So I used to do this stuff all the time. And the reality is, this helped, but it was extremely temporary for the effect. So I would stretch out before Taekwondo class and I would be loose in Taekwondo, but then if I went to a class again later in the week, I'd have to stretch out all over again because I'd be tight again. Or I would feel better after foam rolling my back out, but then I'd wake up the next day and I'd still be tight. And in my mind, things that you have to progressively keep doing just to keep getting to a level of benefit are not as effective as they could be. You should be able to go up in steps from one workout to the next, or at least from 1 week to the next, and say, oh, I used to have to warm up to get to this level of difficulty in weightlifting, or I used to have to warm up to get this loose. Now I'm like this, hopping out of bed in the morning. Because if you can't progressively improve what you're getting out of an exercise, you're not gonna get better results over time. You're just on this treadmill where you keep going forward and then going back and then moving forward and then moving back, and you're not actually getting anywhere from it. So here's what I've been doing instead. A lot of what we talk about with flexibility and mobility is dealing with ranges of motion. How big an arc and motion that you can use in your joints. And this is important, but I think it's missing something that's even more important, which is range of tension. And range of tension is so important that I've replaced it on the progressive table of elements. It's not about range of motion, it's about range of tension, because at the end of the day, your tension is what's ultimately responsible for your health and well-being. The results you want from your exercise aren't going to come from getting your body to move in a big range of motion. We used to do that all the time in Taekwondo. My instructor would hold a leg up to his head height and be like, see, you can kick this high. And then he'd let go of the leg and it would fall down to waist height. He's like, no, hold it up there. And we couldn't hold it up there. We had the range of motion, but we didn't have the range of tension. And what I found over the years is when you improve your range of tension, all the flexibility, mobility, soreness, stiffness, all that disappears and it gets taken care of on its own. Now, the best thing about range of tension is that you don't need exercises to do this. You don't need something special. All you simply do is control the tension in your muscles through normal exercises: squats, lunges, hanging, push-ups, dips, leg raises, bridges. But the key component is paying attention to your tension and how it fades through a range of motion. Are your glutes starting to turn off at the bottom of your squats? Are your chest muscles turning off as you get lower in your dips? What are happening to the tension in your back and your shoulders when you get to the bottom or the top of your pull-ups? By putting tension there, remember, tension doesn't come from an exercise. It comes from your brain. And the only reason why tension is going to be in a muscle is if your brain puts it there. So if you get those tension control skills to be a higher level and you can get tension through a bigger range of motion, all of that mobility and stretching and all that stuff will just going to become somewhat obsolete because you're going to have all the range of motion and the strength that you want in the long run. So play with it. Let me know if you have questions below. Be fit, live free.